Hello, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time on this channel, please consider subscribing, push the notification button as well so that whenever I upload any video, you'll be the first to be notified. And for all my holders, all that have been coming with me, you know what to do. Comment on the comment section, make suggestions, and I'll ask questions, and I'll be more than happy as usual to answer all your questions. So today we're going to be talking about yet another immigration change. And when you say immigration change on this channel, you know that it's always been like evolving and no stopping. So today we're just going to set the ball rolling without wasting of time. So Mark Miller, an international student, I don't know what the problem is between Mark Miller and international student. It's like this man sleeps every night and dream about immigration international student, because from January till now, I don't really know what this man, the bone of contention between this man and his die-hard effort to make sure that international students are capped or well, I don't even know what to say. Like, does he really still want international students in Canada? Like, your thoughts will be really appreciated. Put your thoughts on the comment section, and like I said, let us go straight away. I'm going to be reading from the notes that I took during my research, and so you'll see me a few times taking my face off the camera. So yet again, Mark Miller, the immigration minister, came up with another change. From January to now, it's been like change and change and change on ending change, and more are still coming. So I'm going to be listing some of them, and I'll be talking about them briefly so that you'll be informed before you leave your country of originality to come and study here. You'll be able to know what you are expected, what you can or you cannot do. So the laws that he just passed again now says that colleges and university transfer are now restricted. College and university transfer restrictions. So before now, as an international student, when you come to Canada through any school, you can decide to say, oh, I don't want to study in this province anymore. I don't want to study in this school anymore. I have heard about a better province, a better school where I can cope better than this school where I got admission. There was this loophole, there was this flexibility that if I come to Ontario to study in Ontario and I see that Ontario is really not a conducive environment for me because of the high population in Ontario, and maybe I got information from friends, or after I got to Canada, I was able to discover that, oh, there is a province like Saskatchewan where people are not so, which is not densely populated and life is easier. You as an international student, as at then, before July, can apply to another school in Saskatchewan and say, I'm leaving Ontario to Saskatchewan to study another course. But now you are no longer able as an international student to do that change again. So what does this mean to you? You have to be able to do your research properly before you come into Canada, or before you choose a province, before you choose a school. You want to be able to know that this school of a surety, I know this environment, I can thrive in this environment, I will be able to be successful in this environment as a student. So if you want to do this now, you are now restricted. You can't do it. You can't just change. You will now have to reapply for student visa. Like, you've already gotten a student visa to get into Canada, right? Before, you can just say, I'm leaving, and you will leave. Nothing was required. But now, if you need to change school, like you are going from province Ontario to Saskatchewan, you will need to reapply for a student visa, and you will pay the applicable fee for that student visa, and you will wait for immigration decision before you cannot transfer to another school. And of course, we now know that all this, we have to go with provincial attestation letter being given to you before you can even go ahead and apply. Number 2 is, before now, the schools will report to the provincial government. Canada has the federal and the provincial government. The school will usually report to the provincial government. So now, the government is saying, immigration is saying, there is no more schools reporting to the provincial government. The school will now have to report directly to IRCC. Before now, colleges and universities reported to their respective provincial governments. But however, the new regulation demand that they report to IRCC to streamline the process and improve the oversight of education institution. School reporting to IRCC. So, although this is kind of a positive change to me, because now, instead of the school reporting to the provincial government, the school are going to be dealing with IRCC. You can put it on the comment section what your thoughts are. For me personally, I think this second change, reporting directly to IRCC, is going to facilitate the process, the issuance of a visa process, because now the school is going to be talking to IRCC directly to say, oh, this student has paid his or her school fees. This student is eligible. This student is able to study. We have vetted their documents and they are good to go. So I think personally, the direct access to information will facilitate quick visa issuance, and is going to streamline certain rejection, because nowadays the rate of rejection of student visa has really increased. So I think this second one, even though is a new change, is going to be on the positive side for international students. So the third one is new study application requirements. New study application requirements. For example, like I mentioned earlier on, if I apply as a nursing student to come and study nursing in Canada, maybe I applied to the province of British Columbia, and I got to the province of British Columbia. I now saw that it's very expensive. Life is expensive there. I can't afford it. After paying maybe 32,000, I now discovered that, oh, I could actually have paid 16 or 12,000 in Nova Scotia. So now I'm not saying I'm going to move from British Columbia to Nova Scotia. Before, it was easy peasy. You could do that. You could just move and just notify immigration, and that's it. But now, it is not as easy as it used to be. If you are going to be changing course from students, from nursing to PSW to engineer or to any other course, by the time you apply for your By the time you go on the pool or you apply for your PRO, all these various applications, they are going to like affect you in a way, because you will be needing new study requirements. If you are going to move from school A to B, you will need a new study requirement. You won't be able to use your old study requirement, your old study the requirement that you got from the old school. You will not be able to carry it over to the other province. You will need a new one. I think this is just to stop people from hopping to the other one, because remember, when the provincial attestation letter came in effect by March this year, they gave each province allocation. So it's just like, for example, if I am a owner of a school in a province and I got like 10 provincial attestation letters, and I gave you my provincial attestation letter to come to Canada. So by the time you got to Canada, you are now leaving my school to go to another school. You have made me lose a spot of somebody, whereas I could have given that attestation letter to some other persons who would have stayed. So you are going to make that school or the province lose money. So I think all this is just to make sure that every attestation letter that each province got are being accounted for. And of course, the money that the province are expected to get back in every academic session, they are able to put this money under control and be able to get this money back for sure. So that is no longer a doable thing. It's no longer a doable. So keep your findings, keep your figures, keep everything, keep them very right before you apply to school. Then the other one is enrollment and status tracking. So henceforth, from July, these are some of the rules, although they said the public have they have the opportunity to contest all these changes between now and 29th of July. So after 29th of July, depending on the complaint that they receive from the public, these things will be effected. So institutions are now required to report the enrollment status of their students directly to IRCC. Institutions, they are now required to report the enrollment status of their student directly to IRCC. And this include, among many, providing information whether students are attending classes, progressing in their studies, to enable IRCC monitor more effectively and take actions if necessary. So this is no longer a joke. You can no longer use Canadian studying visa to just get into Canada and laze about without studying. So what does that mean? Try to study a course that you already have a background knowledge of. Because right now, what they are doing is, with the with information tracking, if you are not excelling as a student, you are not doing well, you are struggling between pass mark and you are just struggling, or you are failing your courses, they might take negative action. Because they said the schools will now report to them directly the student performance, the attendance in class. So if you are coming with the hope to say, I will just come and I will just go and be hustling, I will not go to class, I will choose and take the days I go to class, you are better off have a second thought. You are better off have a second thought. And this brings me to the talk about if you are married and your spouse is educated like you, like your spouse can come and study for masters, or you can study for masters, please go for masters. The reason is this: if you go for masters program, then you'll be eligible to bring your spouse with you immediately. So that way, your spouse is working and you, while you are studying, and you just work the 20 hours that you are required to work by law. So that way, you are able to attend classes, and you are able to also boycott all those fears of, oh, am I going to be eligible for work permit? You know, if you do a master's, after your graduation, you get 3 years work permit. Within that 3 years period, you'll be qualified for your permanent residence, meeting all other requirements. So you don't want to just dilly-die. For example, you just say, oh, let me just get into Canada. And if I just get there, it's just to do this thing. It doesn't really matter if I excel. No, now it matters to immigration, because in one of the articles I read, and the Toronto Star, there are going to be occasional spot check by immigration officers. All these were not in place before. So you don't want to come to class. You don't want to be absent from class on the day the immigration officer does a spot check on your school, because it's not going to be funny. Because you don't want to spend your money, your stressful time, come to Canada and you become the scapegoat of immigration officers, because they will be doing spot check now. So you want to really make sure you go for a course you're going to be actually doing well, and you want to be very proactive in your plan, to be as economical as much as you can, and be able to achieve your goals. So these are some of the things that you, as an applicant that is coming, should be able to do. Stop procrastinating. You see, a lot of things are changing. Do not procrastinate. Do what you have to do now. If you are still in Nigeria and you listen to all TikTokers talking about, oh, there are a lot of changes going on, or you are still in your country of originality, you hear every day there are a lot of changes going on in Canada. Canada is changing laws, and you are just there saying, I'm watching this video, I'm watching this YouTube, I like this person's YouTube, I'm just following this person, and you have not started working. You have not done your IELTS, you have not attended that, you have not submitted your document to WES, you have not even thought of going on express entry. There are a lot of people who actually can go into express entry and they will be eligible. Yes, they will be eligible for express entry. Try and go into this. Go into express entry. Try it. Some people say, oh, I'm not qualified. And some people, they'll tell them you are too old to get into there. What about if you are old and you have a career that is on the high demand? I have seen people who their scores were very, very short, very small. Like their scores were nothing to write about. And they got picked by some provinces that needed their careers. It doesn't take you so much to get on the pool. So get on the pool and stop procrastinating. Ìjọ aláyọ̀ kò mọ̀lẹ́ òkú ojú dáadáa.